Today, we are creating a remote accessible user account for VDS. This tutorial will tell VDS how they can do it and how simple it really is. In the first image, we are able to see that I have started off logging into my webmaster account. However, to do this, you would have to log into Ubuntu first because we haven't actually made a webmaster. But once you logged into Ubuntu, you do sudo su webmaster. This will switch the account to webmaster, which will hold all the power to manage and install any software onto the actual account, as we can see here. In the next image, we are able to enter the webmaster's directory. This is where we made the next commands, which will allow us to make an authorized key file. We could do this by doing touch authorized underscore keys. And then we have to do ls-la to see the actual authorized keys in the file, as you can see here. In the next image, we are changing the actual permission of the first set of authorized keys up here to 700. This will allow the webmaster to read and write the file. If we didn't have the webmaster 700, they wouldn't be able to log in using SSH. This would be a problem for VDS because if they get the webmaster role wrong, they cannot enter files or write or read, which would be a big problem. In the next section, we are able to see that we have changed the next set of authorized keys to 600. This will allow the webmaster to be the owner of that one, and they can only read and write the file. In the next image, we are using PuTTyGen. VDS would use PuTTyGen to create their own set of keys. This would be useful because it's a quick and easy, simple way to get their own keys. In this image, we can see we have PuTTyGen open, which will allow us to generate the public key. This will be used for the webmaster because each account then will need their own set of keys to log into the actual Putty. As we can see here, the public key has already been generated because once you open PuTTyGen, you have to move the mouse around to actually generate the key. Once the public key and private key be set, you will need to copy the public key and keep it safe for later. Once copied, you will need to save the private key and name it as the account holder, for example, webmaster_private key. In the next image, we are able to see that we have logged into Putty, but you have to search up nano authorized under keys. This will allow the webmaster to enter the actual file, and this is where we would paste the public key. The public key needs to be pasted in this file because once we've logged out, we are able to log into the webmaster using a private key as the two keys have been linked. Well, because we associate the webmaster with this public key, we are allowed to log into webmaster with the actual private key. In the next step, we can see that the process has worked and we have logged into the webmaster using the private key. In the next step, we are going to be figuring out how we can transfer HTML files to the actual server. To do this, we will need to open up a command prompt. And then once we have opened up the command prompt, we will connect to the Putty using the webmaster private key. You will need to make sure that you store the private key into downloads, as this will allow easier access and it allows the webmaster to enter the private key much more easier as it's all in one section. Once logged in, this will allow you to start transferring files via the actual command prompt. As we can see here, we have logged into the webmaster private key. That's why we need it in downloads, because it will be much more easier to find the actual file. Once logged in, you will need to open up Notepad, as will be an HTML file. Then you will need to follow the specific layout that can be seen here. However, you could type whatever you want. For example, VDS, they could add extra details about them, so they will need to follow the simple layout to get the actual website design. Once created the actual Notepad, you will need to log back in the command prompt and load up the Notepad using the name you have given the file. Once you have the name of the file, you will need to transfer the file. You need to for example, we can see here that I have created my own little link where we would have to enter it into the actual command prompt. For example, c-students/childwrite-downloads/mywebsites.html. The HTML bit would be what you called it. Once you have entered that in the command for your HTML, it should put you back with the PSFTP. This will let you know that the actual command has worked. The last step would be moving the actual file into Linux, which is done by following a command sudo mywebsites.html. For example, you will change that to what your notepad is called /var/www/html/index.html. This would allow your actual HTML to be transferred to the Linux, which we showed on the website, as we can see below. In below, we're able to see the actual notepad presented on our actual website, as we can see here. Thank you for listening.